Hey mamas, I'm Brooke Miller, registered dietitian, certified lactation counselor, and a mama who has helped hundreds of moms feel like themselves again after baby, boost their energy, mood, metabolism, and even milk supply. Inside of the Postpartum Shift podcast, you'll learn how to take care of your health so that you can show up best for the ones you care about most. Each week, we'll tackle topics like nutrition, exercise, breastfeeding, mental health, and so much more. Plus, you'll get access to guest experts who will share ways to make your pregnancy and postpartum experience easier. Whether you're approaching the postpartum period or you're right in the thick of it, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. And this is a timely episode because we are heading into the holiday season. If you are celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, anything else, if you are traveling during this holiday season, you may be a little stressed out. I mean, let's face it, kids are off school. We have to wrap a ton of presents. Sometimes we have to travel, fly, drive. Sometimes the weather is horrible. It can just be a stressful time. And as beautiful as this time may be, it also can be really stressful, and a lot of moms don't necessarily realize the correlation between stress and weight. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but basically we need to understand how our hormones work. And so cortisol is our stress hormone, and when we are in a stressed state, especially a chronically stressed state, what can end up happening is our insulin levels go up. So this is our blood sugar, when you think about our blood sugar hormones, and this causes our blood sugar to drop. And then when it drops too low, we end up craving a lot of sugary types of foods, having cravings, having mood swings. And so for a lot of moms, if they're in a chronic state of stress, they end up physically, biologically craving these types of foods. But not only that, a lot of moms, when we are stressed out, we are more likely to emotionally eat. We are more likely to turn to that sugary food or that processed food in hopes that it will remove our stress. And in some situations, having that bowl of ice cream, having that cookie, it can remove that state of stress for a few minutes, but long term, it is not actually helping us manage our stress, in a long-term state, but it can definitely help us short-term. And so many moms turn to food to cope with stress. And so these are just some of the common reasons why when we are stressed, especially in the holiday season, we are more likely to struggle with things like binges, cravings, and our weight. But not only that, our long-term effects of stress can impact other things. So if you struggle with high blood pressure or high cholesterol, I know people in my life who had really stressful jobs. And so they would get their blood pressure checked, and their blood pressure would be extremely, extremely high during the work week. And then they would test their blood pressure on the weekends or on vacation, and magically their blood pressure was normal. It was in normal limits. And this just goes to show how chronic stress can wreak havoc on our body, our hormones, our metabolism, our blood pressure, our cholesterol, so many aspects of our health. It can even cause things like headaches or migraines. It can cause exhaustion throughout the day. It can because it can hinder your ability to actually fall asleep and stay asleep at night. It can impact your skin and hair, your muscles, your GI system. So if you ever struggle with stress and anxiety, like if you ever had to give a public, speech or something like that, and all of a sudden you have to run to the bathroom and poop, this is how strong the mind, body, and gut connection is it can actually cause, our bowels to need to empty, or bloating or constipation. It can hinder our immune system. This is why when people are in a chronic state of stress, they're more likely to get sick and not be able to recover very quickly. It can impact your sex life. If you've been wanting to reach your healthiest weight and feel like yourself again postpartum without having to sacrifice your favorite foods or your milk supply, I've got a free workshop just for you. Inside of this free workshop, you'll discover how to boost energy, mood, metabolism, and even protect your milk supply. You'll learn common mistakes that moms make that actually cause exhaustion, mood swings, low milk supply, and weight loss resistance to become worse, things that moms don't even realize. And you'll learn the proven 3-step method to heal your hormones and metabolism after baby, so you can go from surviving to thriving postpartum. Plus, as a free gift, you'll get my postpartum snack guide when you come hang out with us. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes to save your seat today. Spots are limited. See you there. There are so many different things that stress impacts, and weight is just one of them. And so, of course, when it comes to, reaching your healthiest weight and getting to a healthy weight, there's a lot of factors. Stress is one factor, but of course there's other things that impact it, like our sleep. Of course, nutrition is one of the biggest ones, blood sugar regulation, nutrition, how much protein we're eating, making sure that we're eating enough, but not eating way past fullness. So nutrition plays obviously a huge role. Exercise, weightlifting, those are things that can also help us get to our healthiest weight. So there are a lot of factors when it comes to getting to our healthiest weight, but stress is just one of the common things that a lot of people just don't give it enough credit. They just don't think that it's that important to our health, our mental health, our physical health. And the truth is, too much stress, too much chronic stress can really set us up for a lot of issues. So you might be wondering, if you're in a chronically stressful job, this is a hard decision. You may need to decide that you need to find a different role within the company. Maybe that means you need to move to a different job. Maybe your kids are stressful, and I can vouch for that. And maybe that means that you do either get a babysitter for a few hours a week so that you can have a break. Maybe that means that you and your spouse take a few hours for yourselves each week. So my husband and I do this a lot where we do trade-offs. So one day I'll say, okay, I'll take the kids and I'll go do this. And then you can have a few hours by yourself, but then I need a few hours by myself. We tend to do that a lot on weekends where we each give ourselves, even like 2 hours each to go do something alone. And that really just kind of resets and really helps with stress. You also have to realize there's so many other ways that we can cope with our stress throughout the day, and every single one of us is unique. And so for me, some things that work really well for managing my stress is working out. If I can get in a workout, especially going outside for a walk, no headphones, no music, no podcasts. And this is hard for me. Actually, walking in silence is one of the hardest things because I constantly have in an audiobook, a podcast, music, I actually feel very uncomfortable with silence, but I know when I'm stressed out, usually for me, most of my stress comes from the overstimulation of my children. They are loud, they are screaming, they're crying, they're yelling, whatever it may be, they're not listening. And that is when I find myself in a really stressful state. And so there are some mornings where I'm so stressed out, and in the car ride to bring my boys to school, we don't even turn the music on. Nothing is on. I just sit in silence and I drive and I'm and I just try to take deep breaths in silence. So deep breathing is massive. Deep breathing is huge. Going for a walk, something I love to do if I'm ever stressed at night, which for me, most of my stress comes in the morning before getting the boys to school. That is my most stressful state, because bedtime's actually pretty easy in our household. But if bedtime is a struggle in your household, once you get the kids to bed, maybe that's taking a warm bath, a hot shower. Those are things I love to do. You could do a bedtime yoga or some stretching before bed. That always works well. A meditation before bed. Those are just some things that work really well for moms, things that don't take a ton of time, but things that you can do on a regular basis. And so if this is you, if you're like, I got my nutrition in check, I have been doing all the right things. I have been keeping my blood sugar balance. I have been eating enough protein. I'm balancing my plate. I am, I'm getting decent sleep. I'm going to bed at a decent time. I'm drinking plenty of water. If this is you and you're looking at all your habits and you're like, man, I'm doing a really good job and I'm not seeing the scale budge, or I'm not seeing, really any changes with my body, but you are in a chronically stressed state, this could be the thing that is actually holding you back from feeling your best, from reaching your health goals, from, improving your lab values. And it is pretty crazy, but somebody in my life who was really struggling with this, once she left that stressful job, and I mean, we are talking like her blood pressure was chronically high for years, like on blood pressure medications. Once she quit that job, she was literally able to come off blood pressure medications. That's how much that stress and anxiety from her job was causing her blood pressure to be raised and her cholesterol to be raised. And then once she quit that job and got into something that she really liked, all of a sudden, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. And even if we are in a chronically, stressful state for years and years and years, maybe you are overworking yourself and you are in a job that you hate for years and years and years, there are even studies to show that stress can even change how long we live, like our longevity, because we are more likely to have a heart attack or stroke if we are in a chronically stressful state. So this is really serious. We could be dealing with, there's a lot, like I said before, it can mess with our GI system, but there's a lot of like inflammatory bowel diseases and GI and digestive issues that can also happen. And so if you are somebody who struggles with IBS or anything like that, like any bloating, constipation, diarrhea, it could be related to stress and anxiety. And so just really making a plan. And again, this may mean communication from your spouse, from your partner, whoever it may be, but really just understanding the impact, trying to figure out where are the stressors in your life coming from, which ones do you have control over, and what can you do on a normal, regular basis that feels really good for you to start to tackle this and make a game plan so that you feel more in control with your hormones and your metabolism and your body so that you can live a healthy life and be happy, around your friends and family and show up for the people that you care about most. So I am cheering for you, Mama. Let me know how this episode was. You can send me a message on Instagram and let me know if you're really struggling with stress. This is something that we talk about inside of the postpartum shift. And so this is something that we talk about in our community on some of our coaching calls and really walk moms through different things that they can test and try that work with their unique schedule, because there are some mamas in there who have, like, I am not joking, like 10 plus kids. There are some mamas in there who have, a lot of kids, and that just means that, they may have a little bit more stress than some other mamas. And so, every situation is a little bit unique. And so having that community support has been really helpful for so many moms in there. So I am cheering for you, Mama, and I will see you in the next episode. Exercise is crucial for our overall mental and physical health, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. Something that has helped me stay really consistent with strength training and yoga at home during nap time is the Expecting and Empowered workout app. I love that I can choose how many weeks pregnant or postpartum I am, and the app tells me exactly what to do. Plus, there's cardio, yoga, and strength training options for new moms and moms-to-be. You can go ahead and click the link in the show notes to get 7 days free and also save 15% off the annual option when you use promo code NutritionForMamas. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to the Postpartum Shift podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share this episode with a mom friend and leave a written review. This helps the podcast reach and help even more moms. Come say hi over on Instagram at Nutrition for Mamas.